G'day everyone, this DLC is full of fun new features for you to enjoy, and I've had a great time playing it over the last couple of weeks. Today, I'm going to give you the rundown of everything that's new, so you can hop right in and enjoy Götterdämmerung. The main features are the special projects and raids, but there's also a bunch of stuff coming in the free update as well, like changes to the AI, the officer core, as well as some focus tree filters and some other stuff that we'll touch on. I also did want to give a disclaimer that Paradox did not sponsor this video, although I did get access to play the DLC a little bit early, so big thank you to Paradox for that. But the thoughts contained within are my own. Let's crack on. Firstly, let's have a look at the new focus trees for Germany, Austria, Belgium, Hungary, and the Congo. And the first thing that you'll be very pleased to know is that there's no balance of power. Germany finally get the communist path, and there's a heap of other new options for you to explore as well. I'm not going to go super into detail about these, but I will touch on some interesting features that you should know about. The Mustache Man has his own little inner circle of homies, and they have their own little focus trees that they will automatically work on for you. They're kind of like advisors that you don't need political power for, and you can elect them by just completing the first 14-day focus from each tree. They'll work through their respective branches, and at certain points, such as when they get to these ones, a pop-up or an event will appear and you'll have the option to swap them out or choose new ones. They give you a bunch of new decisions and different bonuses and everything as you go through them. So take the time, have a look through, see what they give you, and eventually you can even choose to replace Shitler if you get them strong enough. The other thing that I wanted to show you is the shared focus tree for Belgium and the Congo. This branch here is available to both nations, in addition to their own unique trees as well, and it works kind of like a tug of war between the two countries in terms of autonomy. The flag or the little banner beneath each of the focuses shows which nation is able to complete it. If both flags are there, it means that either country can complete that focus. Most of these provide positive or negative autonomy depending on which ones you do. And so if the Congo wants to break free, then they'll be kind of racing against Belgium to complete enough focuses to get the autonomy to do so. The thing with these though is they give both countries a lot of good buffs, and the tree becomes locked once the Congo becomes free. So it may be worth waiting and not rushing through this, as you'll miss out on stuff like your extra research slot or a bunch of different resources or industrial bonuses as well. Austria also has a bunch of different paths. They can oppose Germany or even try to join the Axis before being gobbled up by them, becoming a member on their own. And also, just before I hear from anyone in the comments saying that this is pointless, France has a focus tree, so why the fuck shouldn't Austria? Let's be honest. Definitely worth taking the time to play each of these countries, see how they go for you, check out the different trees. They are pretty expansive for what are, I guess, smaller nations, so definitely a big improvement on the last ones. Let me know which of these are your favorite, and I'll make a video on the most requested one. Speaking of the focus trees, there are new little banners that you can see here, new banner artwork on the different focuses. These denote the most important historical ones, if we come over here as well. Things like dive bombers, adopting Panzer Doctrine, things like that, as well as, of course, all the political focuses. This is paired with some new filters that we have in the focus trees. So this will highlight all the inner circle stuff. If we click the drop down, we can actually, sorry, not even the drop down, we can click on this option and it will show us all of the historical focus trees that the AI would do, and also as a guide for new players, you know, if you're wanting to do a historical game or doing multiplayer and stuff like that, which is really great to see. Paradox are also planning to roll this out for future DLCs as well, as I understand, but all the new countries in the DLC have access to this. The AI is also getting a tune-up. They'll now mass divisions for spearhead type assaults when they've got enough units available without compromising their front lines. I've seen this in action. Tanks do push together rather than being spread out across the front line. And as well as there just being like huge amounts of troops attacking, they seem like they're aiming for encirclements. I don't know if that's coded or not, but you can see in the dev diary here, they've kind of demonstrated a little bit of how that pathing works or what the AI's focus will be. As always, it can behave a little bit weirdly, but Paradox have said that they are going to be fine-tuning this like any of the DLCs over time as they get player feedback and data. So hopefully we can only expect this to improve. There's a great new change in the officer corps. When you appoint any high command or chiefs of the army, navy or air force, they now increase your command power cap rather than taking away from it. The political power cost is still there, but no longer will you end up with a low enough command power cap that you can't even recruit new generals anymore. I believe this is to help balance out the additional command power needed to conduct raids, and logically as well, it makes a lot more sense. The more generals you have in your command, the more command power you should have. Also, you can see here as well that just like before, the lower the level of the general, the less command power that they add. The smallest amount will give you 10. The sort of average amount costs 100 PP will give you 20. And then your geniuses, they'll give you an extra 30, as well as your better combat bonuses. Not exclusively coming in this DLC, this has changed a little while ago, but the spirits have also had some of their effects changed, and I just wanted to mention that I've been using Professional Officer Corps quite a lot. It gives an additional 30 command power cap, and it increases your division experience gain by 15%. So I found this makes getting my troops, especially volunteers to the Spanish Civil War and stuff like that, to level 5 super easily, and that gives them a 75% combat bonus. So give this a go if you haven't already. Since State Serves the Military got nerfed, this has been my new go-to. Now for the really juicy bits, the special projects and experimental facilities. So these are actually quite simple once you play around with them a little. Before you can do any projects, you'll need an experimental facility. There are 4 types for the different kinds of special projects that you can do, being land, air, naval, and physics. You can build these facilities from the construction tab that's been revamped a little bit, and they each have a base cost of 12,000 IC, except for the nuclear research facility, which has a base cost of 15,000. Each subsequent building as well increases the cost by an additional 5,000 IC. So we already have one land warfare facility on the map. So our second one, rather than being 12,000, will cost 17,000. Once it is built, you can view it on the map here, as well as in the new experimental research or experimental facilities tab, which shares the old research icon on the top toolbar. Also, you can just right click on the research button and it will take you straight through to the experimental facilities screen. Here you'll see the different types of facilities, how many projects that each has available, the number of breakthrough points you have as well. You need these to research special projects, and I'll explain how to get them in a minute. First thing you'll need to do is assign a scientist to your facility. You can click here, and if you don't have one, or if you need more, you can recruit new scientists with political power. They all have a different specialization as shown by this icon, and they have different traits as well, depending on the type of research that will give a bonus to, and they have their different experience levels as well. So these guys that we have existing are level 2, the new recruits are level 1. Once your scientist is assigned, then you just click on the folder here to select from the whole range of special projects. A lot of them will have prerequisites. For example, in the aerodynamics or the air special project facility, you can see that an ICBM requires the MRBM to be researched, as well as nuclear warheads. And it also requires 1 breakthrough point from your air facility. Once you've decided which of these special projects to research, it'll tell you the time, what the breakthrough point cost is, as well as any modifiers to it. This is usually based on your leader's stats, as well as the supply where your facilities are built. But all you need to do is click on the project and it will show you this screen here. Now this is where it's going to tell you what the project output is. So it will give us the template for the flamethrower tank and gives us discount for the different designs as well. It'll show you what those do and the modules that we unlock down the bottom as well. So once you've gone through all that, just click start and the project has begun. As your project researches, there will be iterations that will occur, which you can see by the little ribbon here on your facilities folder. These bonuses could be anything from research boosts to stat buffs for your units, to even reducing the amount of time that the special project will take to complete. Once the research is complete, you'll have access to the new equipment type in your production menu, and they'll also be shown in your Ye Olde research tab. Any special projects have the technological looking border around them, so you can tell which you need to complete a special project for versus research as normal. On that note, you can see that there are little colored corners on the edge of your research text. This is one of the ways that you gain the breakthrough points by researching the corresponding text. For an easy guide of which color's which, just have a look at your facility lines here. Yellow is physics, blue is naval, red is air, and green is land. These also correspond with the different colors of your XPs, almost like that's by design. You also gain breakthrough points by leaving your facilities idle. They'll passively generate points over time if they were not working on a special project. So even though they cost around the same as a Civ factory at the start of the game, building them early to accumulate points might be worth it. As I mentioned earlier, where you build these facilities does matter. You can have a maximum of 1 per state, and the supply level in the province where you build them will add different modifiers in terms of research speed and breakthrough point generation speed. The best practice for you to follow is to build them in the green. It's pretty much as easy as that. You can view the completed projects as well as the iterations of them in the history tab, mentioning that some iterations require you to make a choice in terms of what you want to focus on with that particular technology. For example, with your super heavy howitzer, you can choose whether to make them cheaper but less effective, or more expensive and more effective, which I opted for the latter because big boom equals good. There's heaps of cool stuff in here, like super heavy howitzers, land cruiser tanks, which are those like giant ones that you would have seen in the trailer, nuclear engines, thermonuclear bombs, nuclear warheads, however you pronounce this, tiles for the outside of your submarines to make them stealthier, nuclear submarines and nuclear torpedoes, as well as stuff like ice aircraft carriers, bouncing bombs to take out the dams, which we'll touch on in a bit, intercontinental ballistic missiles, all sorts of stuff. So take the time to have a look through. Let me know in the comments as well which one's your favorite, which one you were most surprised by. Experimental facilities are added to the map as a new type of targetable building which can be hit by raids, as well as dams, which are also new, as well as mines and oil fields in resource-rich areas. There are also canals like the Panama Canal, as well as large naval ports and other unique buildings like the Eben Email Fortress, which was a real thing. You can look it up. All of these buildings can be targeted by raids, and to plan one, all you need to do is select one of these red icons on the map, select the unit that you would like to participate in the raid. You can choose from tactical bombers, paratroopers, marines, and later nuclear options, depending on the type of facility and the raid you'll be doing. You then select the unit's departure point, whether that's an airport, naval port, or wherever, and then you will see the raid planning screen. This will tell you the chance of success, which you can alter by changing the level of risk that your unit will take. This will increase the chance of a critical failure, however, depending on what level you choose, so you'll need to balance that out. You will also need to use command power to create the raid, so click this and then it will start planning. You can select to have the raid auto launch once it has finished planning, and that will allow you to change the threshold at which the raid will launch. You need to be at war for a raid to fire, but you can pre-plan a bunch of these and have them ready to go. Having greater intel will also increase the chance of the raid, as well as having air or naval supremacy depending on the type of raid which is being undertaken. Once the raid's complete, you'll be able to view the report of how it went, and then those units will be free to plan the next mission if they survived. Defending from raids works pretty much the opposite way to attacking them. Just make sure that you've got good air supremacy and naval supremacy to protect those particular facilities or buildings that you want to have covered. You can also garrison divisions to help prevent the enemy from being able to pull off a raid successfully. And to help with that, Paradox has added in a new Guard Special Project Facilities mission, and you can just simply have them all cover off like that, and your troops will run off and go ahead and garrison those special project facilities. Landmarks are a new type of building which have been added into the game. They can't be built normally, and they provide a special bonus to the nation that they're in. You can click on the province that they're in, such as the Reichstag here, and in the bottom left, you can see the building as well as the effects that it gives and any damage that it has suffered. These buildings can't be targeted by raids, though there are unique pop-ups which occur in game that may allow you to strike them. If you were to capture another nation's landmark building, you won't get the effects, but you do deny them to the enemy. Now for a complete list, as far as I know, as well as their effects, we have the Reichstag in Berlin, gives plus 5% stability. Big Ben in London gives plus 3% political power gain. The Eiffel Tower in the southern part of Paris gives plus 5% stability. The Kremlin in Moscow gives plus 10% daily command power gain. The Colosseum in Roma gives plus 5% war support. The Statue of Liberty in New York gives plus 2% political power gain and plus 5% stability. And super random, this last one, Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro gives plus 5% stability. That's pretty much everything that's included in the new DLC, Götterdämmerung. Overall, there's a bunch of fun new stuff for us to play around with. I found the special projects to be essentially a bonus research slot, especially for things like radar, which you'd want to get pretty much every time anyway. But let me know what you guys think. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to see more. If you want to help out the channel, please leave a silly little comment below. It really boosts us in the algorithm. And if you'd like to support me further, please consider becoming a channel member as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.